God visited me and I heard a voice which says, "Thus said the Lord, I'm going to use you."
If you'd like to be entertained, well, be entertained by the most wacky stories.
So there's no oil burning, there's no fires going on or anything. So where's the energy coming from?
We're harnessing it straight away from the natural energy that God has just put in the earth, on our earth. Yeah, the radio frequency.
This electromagnetic signal, where is it coming from?
What we have done, we have classified it as a trade secret. The moment we start to tell you what kind of secret, you try to work on it.
But one thing that we want to know for sure is it alien or is it God? Is it man-made from another planet or is it from God? That's where we need, I think, scientific people.
One of my earliest memories in life was when I was around 5 to 6 years old. I remember being taken to school by my dad, and I always asked myself this question: why are we in traffic? Why don't we live on the other side of town so that when we are going to school, we don't have to go through traffic? And it might not seem like much, but that kind of just opened a can of worms for me, and I realized that I like to ask a lot of questions because I basically wanted to understand how things work and why they work the way they do. So why am I saying all this? I recently came across a young inventor from Zimbabwe by name Maxwell Chikumbutso. Now, Maxwell claims to have defied the laws of physics with his new invention. Maxwell has designed a machine that generates power out of nothing. And it seems the whole of Africa is backing him because, I mean, why not? We finally have someone who is from Africa and who has designed something that has the potential to change the way human beings live. And it all started right here in Africa. If you watch any video about Maxwell, you'll see comments like, he's a genius and he has to be protected at all costs, and that people are after his life, and he's a national asset, a treasure to the nation. To be honest, the African in me was so happy that an African has brought up such a great invention. But then my mind started asking questions. I know some of my fellow Africans are going to hate me for this, but I believe they would understand my points when they watch this video entirely. Years of research has proved that energy is produced at a cost. There's a necessary trade-off that needs to take place for energy to be produced. Take our biggest energy source in our solar system, the sun. It's going through millions and millions of chemical reactions per second at a scale that we can't even fathom. And that is producing energy that we can feel all the way here on Earth and literally throughout the entire solar system. The first law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It's either transferred or converted. Maxwell claims that his device, the Microsonic Energy Device, can transform radio waves into energy. And because radio waves are all over the world, his device can work anywhere on planet Earth. And the good thing about it is that you never need to switch it off. Maxwell is simply claiming that he has been able to tap into an unlimited source of energy.
What we're looking at is called the green power of grid machine. It is 0.5 megawatt, and we are relying with the radio frequency. We harness the radio frequency, convert it into pure energy that is useful. It is called a microsonic energy device. A microsonic energy device, it is the generator in this machine.
For people who are not familiar with this, 0.5 megawatt, how much will that power in terms of a house or a community or what?
We're talking of about 300 standard households, yeah,
Okay.
that you can power with one machine.
So there's no oil burning, there's no fires going on or anything. So where's the energy coming from?
We're harnessing it straight away from the natural energy that God has just put in the earth, on our earth. Yeah, the radio frequency.
Now, the thing is that radio waves actually can be converted into energy. But due to their low power levels and inefficiencies in collection, they can only be used to power small devices over a short distance. Things like IoT sensors, wireless charging devices, and RFID systems. Nothing on a large scale. So, has Maxwell cracked the code? Has he cracked the code that will allow human beings to benefit from unlimited energy? Well, I don't have enough data to come to a conclusion, so I waited for the official launch of the device. And boy, there's a lot to discuss from this event.
This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are going to rejoice and be glad in this day.
So, the woman you're seeing on your screen is the current CEO of Saith Technologies. Saith Technologies is the company that Maxwell founded. However, on their website, it displays Mr. Lawrence Cole as their CEO. So I was a bit confused. I didn't really know what was going on. And who knows, maybe they just forgot to update their website on their official launch date. Which, anyway.
My name is Faith. Let me warn you, don't even try to Google and look for me. You won't find anything. I'm from Norway. So don't even look for, oh, what did Faith study? Where did she work? Where was she the CEO? Where was she a manager? Never. Don't waste your time. But I'm here as the CEO of Safe Technologies. The solution is Microsonic. I want to call it free energy. Because it's free, it's here. It's only that you can't touch it. But he has managed to touch it. No battery, no fuel, no dependence on the grid, just clean, self-sustaining energy that you can have anytime, anywhere. The other reason why I'm here is to calm your nerves down. I'm here to calm your nerves down. People don't panic.
So why is she telling us not to panic? Because I don't think anybody was panicking. We just had questions that needed answers so that we could better understand the technology. That was it. Maybe she was referring to some of the thumbnail designs of Elon Musk panicking at this new invention and all that. Maybe.
We are here to partner with the current energy providers. We are not competing.
The next speaker is one of Maxwell's pastors.
Well, somebody is asking a question, so what does a pastor have to do with energy?
Now, I'm a Christian, so I fully understand that wisdom comes from above. I really believe that God gives us wisdom, and God actually blesses people with a certain level of wisdom that comes from above. I remember when I was learning how to code, there were times that I would have such a problem, and when I go to sleep, I would actually dream about the codes, dream about the problem, and I see a solution in my dream. When I wake up and put that to work, I realize that, wow, that actually did solve the problem. So I'm not taking that away from Maxwell at all. It's something that happens, and I realize that it happens to almost anybody. If you think about something long enough, you realize that you would start having dreams and probably even visions about it. If you read the Bible, you realize that Joseph was a dreamer. He had dreams and visions of the future. And, talking about the dream too much to his brothers and his family kind of ended him up in trouble. But then that same ability to talk about a dream was able to get him out of the prison. And it wasn't just the dream that got him out of the prison. He then had to gain insights from that dream. And that's what actually put him at a certain level of authority in the land of Egypt. He was able to convince all the senior politicians in Egypt that his idea was the best, even though it came from a dream. My point here is that a lot of the conversation about this has always been led or spearheaded by having dreams and having visions from God, which is no problem. But then if you talk about that, let's also find out how that can connect to our everyday lives today. How do you apply those dreams and visions to today's technology? How do you interpret that? That's basically what we're asking for. People honestly just want to understand it better. People want to understand how he's able to take those nano frequencies produced by the radio waves and convert them into enough power to power a fridge, an electric vehicle, and all the other things that he has created. We just need to understand it better.
He came up with a 0.5 megawatt prototype, and he called me and said, Pastor, I've done a 0.5 megawatt, and I believe this can power out houses. And I said, are you sure? Then he said, yes, come and see it. So I went to his office in Blufffield then, and I spent a whole day there and said, okay, you know, I'm a pastor, but pastors are also allowed to doubt. So can you prove it to me? And then he said, okay. So he powered the whole building, and the whole day I was there, the whole building was going on, you know, with the 0.5 megawatt that he had built here.
So, based on Maxwell's explanation,
This device can last for 20 years.
this device can stay on 24/7 for 20 years. So why did he need to switch it on during the day when the pastor visited? Why didn't he keep it on? If it can be on for 24 hours a day, why wasn't it on all the time? Is it that the machine has a limit? Can it only work during the daytime? Does it need time to charge? Does it need time to generate the power? These are questions that people have about the device, and we really want to understand more about it.
He then got in a connection with a scientist who was brought in by one of our friends, Foster Gamble. He brought in a scientist, and he had taken his machine in a container at the Celebration Church. And the scientist came in, and they wanted to prove whether what Max claims is really producing energy. So they came in, they did put in a heavy payload. I'm not saying something that I read, I'm saying something that I witnessed. I was there, so I was an eyewitness. So they put it there, drained the machine for 3.5 hours with a heavy payload. And after that, when they went back to measure the batteries, lo and behold, the batteries were full. And the engineer was alarmed, and he said, I've never seen anything like this. I could see Foster almost shedding out tears.
One of the things with Africans is that we normally like to seek approval from abroad. We like to get approval from institutions from the West. I think it might be one of the scars of the century-long slave trade that went on in Africa. But getting an American to come and test your device doesn't mean that everything is okay about the device. Especially when the person who came to test it, had to actually go out and buy batteries. He had to basically gather money, buy the batteries himself to be able to test your machine.
One final hurdle was finding some additional batteries the inventor needed for the test.
We're trying to come up with enough money to buy the rest of the batteries that the inventor needs to do the test this afternoon before we're supposed to leave tomorrow.
Max explained that the energy tapped from radio frequencies runs through batteries, so the batteries don't lose their charge, but you still need them for the process.
Blue started at 4:36 p.m. We're here with Maxwell, and the test is starting.
Once we arrived on site, our goal for the vetting was to establish that the device could power a welding machine, which uses a lot of electricity very quickly, for long enough that it couldn't be running on batteries alone.
So you were asking where the energy came from. You mentioned the other day the sun, but it's not like solar energy.
No,
right?
it's not. We're not using solar energy because this one is not even affected with clouds, light, and things like that. It just works.
So the energy, the radio frequencies that you're harnessing, are they there in space, in the field all the time?
Yes, they are. From the first day we started testing the machine, we have been analyzing and we saw that the radio frequency is there. But one thing that we want to know for sure is it alien or is it man-made from another planet, or is it from God? That's where we need, I think, scientific people to define exactly. But we know the radio frequency, we have everything.
If it's still a fully charged battery, the test is successful.
It's not screws.
Oh, that's 217.
0.9.
That's perfect.
We got it.
So that's the 18 battery.
Yeah, that's the 18 batteries.
217. So that's higher than the nominal voltage.
Dude! Wow.
Thank you so much.
That is awesome.
He tested it for a few hours and he says, great, the battery is still at 100%. But what about for longer? Since you claim that it can be on for 24 hours. I feel like the test was not conclusive enough because he's made a very, very bold claim that this thing can be on 24/7 and you only test it for a few hours. I don't think that is substantial enough. This not to even mention the fact that these people who came in to test it had to wait in Zimbabwe for about 2 weeks before being able to test it. It almost feels as if the machine was not fully ready and they had to make some adjustments just before this test could go on. Just looking at some of these things make me ask more and more questions. Next was the Vice Chancellor of the Harare Institute of Technology endorsing the device.
I was as disturbed, confused as most of the comments that we are seeing today on social media, which regrettably lack any information and are not factual about what is on the ground. I've touched and experienced the phenomenal, unbelievable power that is coming out of the microsonic energy technology.
He seemed shocked at the social media comments. I mean, don't blame them. There's been no solid explanation of the device. People are still confused about the device. And where there is no concrete and clear communication, speculation will arise. Next was Maxwell. He spoke a lot about his life growing up and how he was not supposed to live as a baby, but then miraculously survived. He mentioned how he heard the voice of God at the age of 17, saying, "Thus says the Lord," and quoted Isaiah 49 verse 7. And that has been his foundation scripture throughout his journey in life.
1997, I was 17 years old, and I still remember vividly, it was on the 23rd of September. I was praying in the church at a corner. God visited me and I heard a voice which says, "Thus said the Lord, I'm going to use you." I was given a scripture which is in the book of Isaiah 49 verse 7, which says, "Thus said the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel, this Holy One, to him whom men despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise. Princes also shall worship because of the Lord. That is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee." From that day, there was a man of God. Unfortunately, he's not here yet. He was preaching, and I was at the back of the church. He called me out and he said, "God told you something. See me."
He spoke about many spiritual encounters and how he got to where he is today, including a near-death experience. It was after this death experience that Maxwell got the idea for the radio energy wave device.
When my mom saw me, she cried. She said, "He's a dead person." It was a difficult time for the whole family. My late sister, she was still alive that time. They were praying for me, and one day I felt that I'm going to die. I called everyone and I said, "Please, today I'm dying, so I just want you to be with me. But before I die, please, can you take me to the church that I built when I was 15 years old?" They took me, they find someone who gave them a car, they took me. I just lay my hands wherever I remember that I laid a brick. I put cement. That was my healing. The doctor who saw me when I was sick, he put me on ECG machine. The day that he saw me well fit and alive, he said, "I cannot believe this. It's only God."
So anyway, after his long talk, he finally got to the microsonic device that we're all here to see. By the way, I did not notice the president of Zimbabwe at the event. I think he would have definitely had a podium to speak, but probably he was not available. I wonder why. Maybe he was busy and couldn't attend the unveiling of a revolutionary device that could turn the fortunes of Zimbabwe. Maybe he was just too busy to attend such an event. So now, to why everyone is here. The great unveiling of the Microsonic Energy Device by Maxwell Chikumbutso.
So this is the Microsonic Energy Device, ladies and gentlemen. This is the machine.
So that's the device. Well, I think if you are unveiling a device that could potentially change the whole world and you're unveiling it to the world, I don't know why someone would leave so many parts looking so exposed. I feel the presentation of the device should be better. It just looks very raw. It looks kind of like a prototype, if I'm not mistaken.
You are going to see for the first time this machine recharging itself right now, harnessing energy. It tells you how much energy it is harnessing in watts form and how much it is putting in the machine. I saw that a lot of people, they said there's solar panel, I'll get to that. You can see it's not connected to anything. It's okay. The Microsonic energy is now on. It's analyzing. You see, it's charging itself. As you can see, the battery is now going up. You see? This device can last for 20 years.
And what does it mean that the device is on? What is it powering? Is it powering the building? Is it powering all the cameras there? All I see is a device with a battery gauge, and the gauge keeps going up and down. That doesn't mean anything to me. What is it doing? You know? To be honest, I was very disappointed at the unveiling. I thought probably he would unveil it and say that, hey, the whole building you are in right now is being powered by this tiny device. That would have been a wow, whoa, wow. That would have been that kind of moment. But he just showed us the device, he put it on, and everybody is clapping. So I really don't understand what was going on at this point.
We have violated the natural law of science.
It's almost like we have a Lamborghini. The Lamborghini is parked outside, but you only use it to go and take groceries from the shop. There's so much more you could have shown, but this is all. You just put the device on and you expect us to believe that everything is okay. I don't know. So I thought that was all and they were all going to leave. But to my amazement, they now went outside and were finally going to test the device. I was genuinely excited. I was like, wow, finally, okay, great. At least we get to see that. Now that's what I'm talking about. Show the world what we got, Max.
Right now, when we did these machines, we liked the design. I saw a lot of people were saying broad or whatever, solar panel. We just liked the case. It was something that we had in mind.
Is that the device? Because it looks different from what he just showed us in the conference room. This looks different. Some people claim that this looks just like a solar-powered device that's being used in Zimbabwe. And I don't know, because this and what he showed us in the conference room, they are two different things. Or are they the same? So confusing. Let's listen to the reporters, because I think at this point they were as confused as I was.
We have managed to erase the batteries. We've managed, and we hope, with brothers from Congo, we hope that the war maybe will end with this kind of initiative, because no one will be in demand on lithium ion. Yeah, so we just hope that it might help that conflict to end. Amen. We thank God with this technology. So we got these are the smallest machines that we're doing, but right now we're working.
there no battery in there?
There's a small battery, but that is very small, like I'm saying. Because remember, when you talk about batteries, you're talking about energy density.
So confusing. So does the device power batteries, or can it power an equipment directly? It's just so confusing at this point. If it's powering the batteries, right, then that means the battery cells are going to die over time. And it means that those batteries will have to be replaced, if I'm not mistaken. So does it mean that as you use it, you need to still be replacing the battery, or even when the battery runs down and is dead, it can still power the device directly? We didn't really get an explanation to all this.
This is a generator. I think if you can go to the fridge, you can see it's going to plug in, and you will see that the fridge is going to be powered by a car. Like I said, you can buy a car. You don't need to have a generator at your home. You use your car.
Alright, so now he's powering a fridge with a device. I can't see the device anywhere, but he claims that it's powering the fridge. And why don't you power it for 24 hours so that we know that, okay, it can work for 24 hours? I mean, he's just, from what I'm seeing, it's just a few minutes and they put it off. That doesn't prove anything. A power station could do that. So now they come to the famous electric car. And this one reporter here asked a question that was on my mind, the exact question on my mind.
So where is the Microsonic device?
Great question. Where is it?
What we have done, like we said, the Microsonic Energy Device is the invention that we have done, and we are trying to protect it. We have embedded it in the vehicle. Okay. Yes. And it has got a self-destructive technology. On the 150 wires on this car, if you try to tamper with 5 of them, we will classify. You destroy the Microsonic Energy Device, both the software and the hardware. That's how we are protecting the technology, because we couldn't get a patent.
Hold on. Did he just say self-destruct? So if you try and cut any of the wires to repair your device. So for example, if I bought this car, I have the Microsonic device in it. The car has a problem. I take it to the mechanics, and the mechanic just removes a few devices. The Microsonic device explodes, and my whole investment into the Microsonic device is useless. Is that what he's saying? And he mentioned that this whole thing is FCC approved, ISO certified. I don't know if these people would actually certify and approve a self-destructing appliance within a car. Now he's really getting me confused. Well, I mean, if it's approvable, then I think Elon Musk and Apple should use the same technology. If you don't want anyone to mess with the iPhone, just put a self-destructing device in it, and anybody who opens it up, boom. Thank me later, Apple.
Question, what would be the market price?
Right now we're still doing costing. I think before the end of this week we have the final costing, but it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
I can...
So which products do you have on the market?
The car?
Are the batteries on the market?
The greener power of grid machines are on the market, the TVs are on the market, the bikes are on the market, the cars as well, they are on the market.
So when you say on the market, where would one buy one? Yeah. So if you wanted to buy a battery, where would you go?
Right now we're doing, I think you saw the company that we partnered like in Zimbabwe, which was doing that video. That's our agent concentrating marketing. But right now we are using the Tesla model, which we are using, that we don't want to have middlemen, because the price will be so high to the end users. So we're saying people, they will buy straight from safe in other countries, then they will get their products there. For example, we are setting up in Switzerland, so it is going to cover Europe, in some parts of Europe. Then we have got other countries that we pick up in, like in Central Africa, East Africa, and Northern Africa, which will cover differently.
So Maxwell is saying that the device is now available to everyone. We can buy it. But he didn't add how, because I went to their website, I didn't see anything about ordering a Microsonic device. And even a follow-up question to that, if I even buy the Microsonic device, how do I even install it on my device or my car? Because it may just blow up in my face. So how do I even install it? Do I need to call you all the way from Zimbabwe to come and install it? Would there be instructions? There are so many questions, so many. But you know what? In spite of this, I still wanted to get my hands on it because, well, who knows? Maybe I could be wrong about all my assumptions here and the thing actually works. So I sent them an email to their sales email, and to my surprise, the email doesn't work. You can't even email them. So I'm just wondering, how do I get this device? How do I even communicate with the company? Because this is not even a personal, this is the company. How do I communicate to the company to get this device? Because this is your big launch. You are launching it to the whole world, and your email is not working. Your sales email is not working. How? And this was just a day after the launch. That's when I sent the email. Exactly a day after the big launch. So that was pretty much the launch. The launch did not really answer a lot of the questions that I had. I actually had more questions after the launch. And so I think they didn't do a very good job with that. My take on this whole thing is that I don't think it's impossible to harness power from radio waves. I think that in the near future, something like that would definitely be possible. But looking at today's presentation and everything about it, I don't think that this is it. I think inventing a product is one thing and marketing a product is another thing altogether. Probably his PR team didn't do very well communicating what this whole device does and how it works and how to get it and all that. We are still in the dark concerning a lot of those questions. Who knows, maybe someone will buy it and actually test it and put it on YouTube for all of us to see. But until then, we don't know if this device actually works for 24 hours and more. I personally believe that Maxwell is a very intelligent person and a very well-meaning person as well. And I think he's definitely someone to keep your eye on in the near future. In case you are watching this, Maxwell, my only advice is this, right? Actions speak louder than words. So far, we've heard a lot of words, and some of them we don't really understand, and it's not really making a lot of sense to us. But then, if you are able to put all these words aside and just demonstrate the device working for over 24 hours, I think that will silence every critic of this device. My simple idea is this: get a drone, fit your Microsonic device on the drone, call a lot of media, YouTubers, let them all gather in an isolated field, start the drone, let it fly up maybe around 30 feet, let it hover at 30 feet, and everyone is just watching it. So you get a drone into the sky. If it stays in the sky for 24 hours or 48 hours, I can guarantee you that within the next hour, you would be a billionaire. That's if we can reach you. Make yourself reachable on your website. It's annoying, but I just had to say that. So if you're watching this and you agree with this experiment, comment down in the comments below. I would love to see this experiment. I would actually watch the whole live stream for this experiment. And let me know what you think about this whole Microsonic Energy Device thing. Remember to leave a like for this video, leave a comment, share it so the YouTube algorithm can send this video to more and more people. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.